The MAGA party wants to turn what is today and what has been for 50 years a constitutional right into a federal crime. And they want to do it before the 4th of July.
Passing Title 42 is imperative, and it is the most important thing this Congress can do at this time. It's a shame. It's a tragedy. I yield back the remainder of my time.
Gentlewoman's time has expired. Gentleman from Pennsylvania reserves. Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, the United States of America just witnessed the most astonishing spectacle. We are here to debate aid to the people of Ukraine defending themselves against a massive invasion by Vladimir Putin and his army. Then the minority puts up the distinguished gentlelady from Georgia who does not mention Ukraine once. She does not mention the thousands of Ukrainian civilians who've been slaughtered by Putin's army. She does not mention more than 100 Ukrainian children who've been shot and killed by the Ukrainian army. Instead, she talks about a massive invasion at the border, a massive invasion which their own speakers have said today hundreds of thousands of people have been apprehended in. That's very different from a military invasion, the one in Ukraine. Of course, the gentlelady is not going to talk about that. She had a lot to say the other day when she heckled me continuously. When I came to the floor, it was like the Rocky Horror Picture Show in here, with her chanting about the Russia hoax and Russia this and Russia that. Now she had the opportunity to tell the world what her views about Russia are. I put them out there, exactly what she has said. She said that the aid that the taxpayers of America are sending to the people of Ukraine to defend themselves against Vladimir Putin and the Russian army falls into the hands of Nazis. I want to see her proof. Where's her evidence? She talks about NATO Nazis. Does the minority believe that our allies in NATO who are trying to defend the people of Ukraine are Nazis? Has it come to this? Gentlelady talked about a massive invasion. We had a massive invasion of our own chamber. And she continued to be a cheerleader for the insurrection and deny what happened here.
Let me remind everyone here, we swore an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and our borders. We should be paying attention to our country right now. I yield back. Thank you.
Gentlelady yields back. The gentlewoman from Minnesota reserved. Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Here's a formula for the destruction of democracy: repeating Putin's propaganda and disinformation and appeasing imperialist assaults on sovereign nations.
Madam Speaker, the Biden regime wants to talk disinformation. Okay, let's give them something to talk about. Let's talk about how the White House said that it was Republicans that want to defund the police. Let's talk about how Secretary Mayorkas said the southern border is closed. Let's talk about how Joe Biden said his Build Back Better agenda cost zero American tax dollars. Are these the words of a public servant? What do I need to do to, well, Madam Speaker, I'll let you read the rest of that. The Democrat Party has truly lost their minds.
Madam Speaker, the distinguished gentlelady from Colorado called the President of the United States, or likened him to I think she said, a lying dog-faced pony soldier. We obviously could have taken those words down, but we have serious business to do here. And unlike some of our colleagues on the other side, we're not interested in censoring other people's speech. We want the whole world to see how the gentlelady from Colorado speaks in public as a member of Congress. We want everyone to look at that. The antics and the diatribes of our colleagues are so profoundly disappointing to those of us who've come here to support President Zelensky and the heroic people of Ukraine who are resisting a brutal, illegal aggression by Vladimir Putin and his army. And we were hoping that we would have a bipartisan, unanimous support for this legislation to render the military and strategic, economic, and humanitarian aid that our democratic allies need and are asking for and deserve to fight off this illegal, criminal aggression by Vladimir Putin, who is not a genius, but a war criminal and a mass murderer.
And so we are very proud of the work that President Biden has been doing in unifying the democratic world against the autocrat Vladimir Putin and his naked, bloody aggression against the people of Ukraine. And we don't see anything remotely like the seriousness and the solemnity that we would expect of members of the United States Congress. But instead, they put up profanity, they mock the President of the United States, they make a disgrace of their own party by the way they behave on the floor of the House of Representatives. Heard it from Steve Bannon, who said, no Republican should vote for any money for Ukraine, $0 for Ukraine. We're hearing it from other candidates around the country. J.D. Vance says, I got to be honest with you, I don't really care what happens to Ukraine, one way or the other. Madam Speaker, the democratic world is under siege by Vladimir Putin and his filthy army, which is murdering children, raping women, killing civilians. Ukrainian people and President Zelensky have asked for our help. They've asked for these resources, and they need these resources in order to beat back a brutal, bloody, and illegal invasion by Vladimir Putin, who is violating the laws of war on a daily basis. They've killed thousands of civilians. They've killed more than 150 children, murdering them. And his army is raping and killing women, leaving their corpses in the street. And so we have a democracy trying to defend its sovereign borders against an autocrat who wants to rebuild the Russian Empire. Vladimir Putin, the former chief of the KGB, who said that the greatest catastrophe of the 20th century was the collapse of the Soviet Union. And we were hoping that we would have a unanimous bipartisan statement today in favor of aid to the besieged people of Ukraine. But instead, we get more voices of defeatism, pessimism, and gloom. Let's talk about free speech in Russia. More than 15,000 people arrested and detained as they crush the anti-war movement in Russia, as he jails political opponents in Russia. And they haven't said a word about that. Have they said anything about the opponents of the war in Russia who've been thrown into jail? No. They're talking about a board in America that I wasn't even aware existed, I'm not sure it does, that has never thrown anybody into jail. Is this Abraham Lincoln's party we're hearing today? Or is it a cult of Donald Trump? We have to decide which side America is going to be on. The democratic world has risen as one to support the people of Ukraine. And yet, our friends don't seem to want to talk about that. They don't want to seem to support this effort, which is extraordinary to me, as the people of Ukraine are doing whatever they can to fight this naked, illegal aggression, this unilateral war of aggression, unprovoked, unjustified, a violation of international law in every way. The Republicans' own witness, the witness they called, is candidly and openly calling for a nationwide ban on all abortions with no exceptions for rape or incest. And if I've got that wrong, I would invite Ms. Foster to correct me. Do I have it wrong, yes or no?
If we added rape and incest exceptions, would you vote for it?
Okay, I reclaim my time, of course. This is a position for government-compelled childbirth in all cases so extreme that it excludes the vast majority of Americans of all political persuasions.